Hi guys, you're here with Mikey. It's not Saturday, sorry about that, I know I'm late. But I have been a bit messed up with my scheduling and whatnot recently because I got top surgery. As you can see, I'm not wearing a binder, which is super exciting. I've got Telain here with me. She's going to interview me for this week's video.
So Mikey.
Yes, Telain?
Would you show me the benefits of being stealth versus the benefits of being out?
I would love to. That would make my life so much better.
It would be really awkward if you didn't want to, because that's the point.
For me, there are a lot of benefits, but mostly it came down to safety. At my second high school, it was quite a rough area, and I just didn't know how safe I would be being open about being trans. I was really lucky in that I had most of the faculty on my side. Only a couple of them actually knew that I was trans, and most of them just thought I was a cis guy. Most of my classmates also thought I was a cis guy, which was good and bad. From a transphobia angle, it was probably safer to be stealth at that school because it was a rough area and because a lot of my classmates didn't even respond well to me liking guys, and I don't know how they would have responded to me being trans. But at the same time, that was the first time in my life that I was stealth, and it was the first time that I hung around with a bunch of cisgender guys and cisgender heterosexual guys. And it was really weird because I didn't understand how anything worked, and suddenly everyone was weird bro-patting each other and talking about pornography. And I came from a circle of friends where all the guy friends I had were mostly queer, and we'd hug each other and cuddle, and I was like, what is this heterosexuality everywhere? I don't understand. One of the places that I was stealth for a long time was online, because it was really the only place that I could be. Unfortunately, I'm, as you can probably see, incredibly feminine. I've been on T for over a year and I've had top surgery and I still get mistaken for a girl all the time. And it was really hard for me to pass in real life, and even when people would get my pronouns wrong and I'd be like, no, I'm a guy, then they'd stand there and argue with me. So one of the only places that I could be stealth and that I could feel just comfortable knowing that people just thought of me as a guy was online in early 2007, and made friends there as a guy, and it was the first place that I was ever just a guy, and people there thought of me as cis and treated me as cis, and it was really nice. And then, I moved on from that site, and a lot of the friends that I made there I've still ended up talking to over various different sites. We have each other on Facebook and Tumblr. And I didn't decide to come out until early in 2010. I didn't think there's anything wrong with being stealth, but I'm a really open person, and it was kind of hard for me to exist and have these really close friendships with people and have them not know about this massive part of my history. Being trans itself isn't necessarily a giant part of my life, but the things that I've experienced out of it are the transphobia I've faced, and the fact that I got bullied out of 2 different schools and had death threats and that kind of thing. It's contributed a lot to who I am, and it was kind of weird to just not, to be so close to people and not have them know about these giant chunks of who I am and what my life has been. So I ended up coming out, and also because I sort of feel like I could educate people that way. It was almost kind of like a sneak attack. It was like, I'm this person that you've known, and you know me as a guy, and you know all these things about me, and then you find out that I wasn't born with XY chromosomes. And it feels like it's a better way of explaining it to people, because that way the first thing they think isn't trans guy or XX or female assigned at birth. The first thing they think is Mikey, and then me being trans is just another part of my life, and that's it. It's kind of a good way of being like, look, we're just normal people, and we just have normal lives and that kind of thing. The benefits of being stealth versus out is definitely safety. I'm relatively open with most people about being trans, unless I feel like they're going to be incredibly ignorant and I'm going to be putting my mental health at risk by telling them, or I think I'm going to put myself in physical danger by telling them. Most of the time, if I think that I can educate them by coming out, then I will, because I think that as someone that's okay with being open about it, I've been given an opportunity that people that aren't okay and that feel like they have to live stealth haven't been given, because they aren't in a position to be able to share their experiences, and I am. So I feel like I kind of am under an obligation to help educate people. But there are some times when I just won't tell people because I think that my safety might be put at risk. And I think that that is a massive, massive factor that does take place in the decision to be stealth or out, is how you think it will be received by people around you, if you think that you're likely to be putting yourself at risk by being open about being trans. I think in general, identity is another thing. I've been really lucky with most of the people that I've had as fixtures in my life, because most of them have been people that I've been able to explain it to, and they've understood it and just ended up seeing me as a guy. But I know that there are some people, and I do have some like that in my life, that they just don't understand. No matter how many times you try to point it out to them or make them realise, they just will always see you as less than male. And it's not something that I'm very good at coping with either. I try not to associate with people that don't respect my identity, but I know that there are always people in situations where they might come from an area where it's just less open-minded, or they've just had bad luck and people just refuse to see them as male. So I think safety and identity are probably two massive factors. Again, there was also for me the fact that being out gives me an opportunity to educate people that I don't think I would personally have if I was stealth. That was a massive decision-making factor in me deciding to be more open about it and deciding to tell more people. Self-worth was actually another massive deciding factor for me. Not that I think that there is anything wrong with being stealth, but I think that people have less self-worth if they are. But for me, accepting that I was trans and being open about it was part of me feeling like a worthwhile human being, because for so long I felt like me being trans was something to be shameful of. And I don't ever feel that way about anyone else, but I think that's just, everyone feels that, well, a lot of people feel that way about themselves, that it's okay for other people to have these flaws, but when they're your flaws, they're not acceptable. And that's how I felt about being trans. I would never have had a problem with another trans guy, but I felt like me being trans was something unacceptable, and that it would make other people consider me less of a person. And so a big thing for me was that I got to a mental headspace where I was like, I need to start believing in myself more, and I need to believe that I can tell people about this, and that people can know I'm trans, and that they'll still respect me and still see me as a worthwhile human being, and that they won't think any lesser of me. I love you too. So that was a big deciding factor for me. I don't think there's really any right or wrong way of being trans. I think that there are actually a lot of people in the trans community that are open about it, and that really have a lot of hostility towards people who are stealth. And I don't think that's right, because as I said, there's no right and wrong way to be trans. There's no right or wrong way to identify. There's no right or wrong way to transition. And if someone's transitioned to a point where they can pass the cis and that's what they're comfortable with, who are we to tell them that they shouldn't be able to do that? I don't feel the need to walk the streets and scream about my XX chromosomes to everyone I meet. For me, being out versus being stealth is more just that I'll let people know if they ask or if they're curious. I think for me, the difference is that it's not a secret. I'm not trying to hide it, but at the same time, obviously, I don't feel that everyone in my life needs to know. I guess it's just another thing about me, like the fact that I play piano, or the fact that I'm likely, no, everyone knows that. I think that's about all I have to say on the topic.
I like how my interview was just one question to start to get you going.
And then I just fucking talked. That's all it takes.
Yeah. I'm glad, because I didn't actually have anything to ask you after that.
Until next time.